workshop series is brought to you by Emerging Futures Network and is funded by a grant through the Department of Environmental Quality. Emerging Futures Network, our mission is to educate and engage the community to implement regenerative principles and practices at the local level through solution-oriented projects. And this is one of our projects. We've had a lot of help to bring this program into being, and we'll share a little bit more about that. I would like us just to start in with some introductions. And then we'll hear from the Emerging Futures Board as well. But I'd love for you to share for just a moment about, if you'd like to share your name, the community where you live, and just a little bit about why you're concerned about food waste, and anything you want to share about foods that you like to make in the fall. So we're going to keep things moving. I'm going to create a little stack of folks so that you know who's coming next. So first, I'd love for Flavia, then Anna, then Pauline, then Janae. Hi, Flavia. I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Hi. Yep, my name is Flavia Franco, and I live in Ashland. We just moved here from the Bay Area in California in late 2017. And so I'm concerned about food waste because I'm concerned about climate change. And let's see, foods I like to make in the fall. Well, I like good, hot, comfort food meals pretty much all year round. So they're especially good in the fall when it's cold outside. So get that crock pot going.
Nice. Welcome, Flavia. Okay, yeah. Anna, Pauline, and Janae. And you, Anna, you are muted.
Is there any way to put them front and center so that we can see their beautiful faces instead of they're down in the corner?
Yes, on their three dots, Rihanna, you can select Spotlight Video.
Oh, Spotlight my video? Pin, is that the same?
No, Rihanna has to do it. Rihanna, if you make me co-host, I can do it.
I said Anna, okay. So yes, my name is Anna, and I live in just outside Talent, and I'm concerned about food waste. Partly, I think initially the draw-in was around the environment, but there's so many things that when you address that get healed in the process. It's an issue that touches so many others, and especially hunger. That's an issue near and dear to my heart. And speaking of hunger, I love making pesto, and then for dessert, baked apples in the fall.
Nice. Baked apples, that's a must. Wonderful. Pauline and Janae?
Okay. I'm Janae Johnson, and I live in Ashland Village now. I lost my home in the Almeda fire, but Fry Family Farm delivered their last box, and even with a partial share every 2 weeks, I mean, like cook, use it up. So I'm very conscious of not wasting food. And the thing, I like to make soups. Like I've made cabbage soup. We got beets today, so I'll make borscht. You know, so in the fall, I like soup.
Nice. Thanks for being here. Hi, Pauline. We're excited to hear from you. Can you unmute yourself to share? We'd love to. Can you, if you go to the lower left corner of your screen, there's a mute button there, and you can just, it looks like a little microphone. There you go. Hi, Pauline.
Okay. Hi. I'm not a techie, so I live south of Rogue River, up about 4 miles from the beautiful river, and on some land with my son. And I am concerned about food waste because we're such a wasteful culture, and it could go to such much better purposes like as the previous guest said, feeding people. So what I cook in the fall is pretty much what I cook the rest of the year. Lots of cooked good greens and root vegetables and meat from our land, and a lot of preserving, sauerkraut and pickles and acorns and such.
Yum. Thank you. We're glad you're here, Pauline. Welcome. So next we have Vicki, Kathy, then Cynthia, and Louise. We're just starting off with some introductions. If you could share your name, the community where you live, anything about your interest with food waste, and a dish you like to cook in the fall. Hi, Vicki. Nice to see you.
You too, Rihanna. What a pleasure. I haven't seen you forever, and I didn't realize you were hosting, so I'm excited to see you.
Hey.
I'm Vicki Ashford. I live in Ashland. I really don't know that much about food waste. That's why I was interested in taking the course. I've started composting, and so I guess I am realizing I might be wasting some food too, but it's kind of being recycled, I think. And in the fall, we love to have really hearty soups, like some of the other people said. Tonight we're having curry with sweet potatoes and carrots and potatoes. So hearty things like that, warming things like that.
Nice. I'm literally salivating. That sounds delicious. Thanks for being here. Kathy, we're excited to hear from you. And then Cynthia and Louise. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, I'm glad to be here, and I live in Talent, downtown on Talent Avenue, on the surviving side of the street. I'm interested in food waste, just as many others have said, just reducing waste in general, but it's such an expensive thing that we do, and for the landfills, it's just crazy. So things I like to cook in the fall, I just picked up some squash from our neighbor's farm stand, and any excuse to turn on the oven on these cold nights.
Nice. Welcome, Kathy. Glad you're here. Hi, Cynthia. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I live in Ashland, and I also had a Fry family farm, CSA. So I had a hard time keeping a handle on it when I love supporting the farmers, but we got so much. And so I cooked a lot of soup, and which I love. I could eat soup every meal, actually. And yeah, I love the apple pies this time of year as well. And my crust is getting to be outstanding.
Hey.
Had a lot of practice with COVID making pies and things. And I'm interested in food waste because I feel like not only the climate issues, but the moral issues of wasting food when so many people need food, and the effect it has on our forest and just down the line. So I'm really happy to learn anything I can in this series. Thank you very much for offering it.
Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you for being here. I'm from the South, and if you're good at pie crust, you better brag about it, because that's great. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Louise. How are you? Louise, do you want to unmute yourself and introduce? We'd love to meet you here in the Zoom room. If you want to unmute yourself. You look down on the bottom left there.
Sorry, I'm doing this on the phone, and I haven't done it before on the phone. Anyway.
Hey, no problem. We're glad you're here.
Oh,
Welcome.
At me. Let's see, I live in Ashland, and I'm a Red Wiggler fan. And I found out that the local Grange here has Red Wigglers. I didn't want any, but we got talking about worms. And let's see, I like to make soups in the winter.
Nice. Thanks so much for being
Yeah.
here. Welcome. Okay, we'll continue with our introductions. Please excuse me, I'm going to try my best with Murangnawai. Nigdi, we'd love for you to, I apologize for obviously mispronouncing your name. We'd love to meet you here in the Zoom room if you'd like to introduce yourself, and then we'll have Jamie and Christy on deck, please.
Hello everyone, I am Mrinalini from India, from Mumbai city, and I'm interested in food waste because to reduce waste, first of all, as most of us share, and distributing properly the resources, because so much of energy goes in when you cook food, and then I just don't like to throw the food. And I think hunger also in India, there's a lot of problem with hunger. Yeah. And then I want to learn the techniques how to, save the made food so that it doesn't go waste. Thank you so much. It is so nice to have all of you and meet everyone. Thanks.
Thank you so much for your effort to be here. It's really an honor that you would take time to join us. Thank you so much. Please feel very welcome to the group today. Hi, Jamie. Would you like to introduce yourself to the group? Welcome.
If you notice in the chat, she says that she doesn't have a camera or microphone on her computer, but there's a greeting from her. If you want to read it, or if you want me to read it. Do you see it?
Go ahead. That's great. Thank you for your help. I can't share my
Sure.
screen and see chat at the same time, so thank you.
Oh, Jamie says, so sorry we don't have camera microphone on our computer, but this is Jamie Burnett in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Professionally, I work with the Gleaning Project of South Central Pennsylvania, where we collect unprofitable produce from local farmers and distribute to the community for free to address food waste and food insecurity. Personally, I am an environmental minimalist and love to do everything I can to reduce waste and serve the community. We are currently receiving Misfits boxes. Misfits, I love that. Misfits boxes, so we get creative in the kitchen with whatever produce we receive that week. Been making lots of soups lately, tried latkes, I don't know if I'm saying that, latkes, for the first time tonight with kohlrabi. Latkes?
Nice.
Pancakes.
Awesome. Jamie, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your introduction in the chat there. Welcome. Christy, are you there in the room? We'd love to meet you and hear your introduction.
Yeah, I'm Christy. I'm in Minneapolis. And I pretty much ditto what a lot of other people said about waste. I just think there's a lot of unnecessary waste and doesn't need to happen so much. And I like cooking vegetable curries.
That sounds wonderful. Great. Thank you so much. And last but not least, I'd love to introduce, thank you all for sharing those introductions. It's really great to hear a little bit about your ethic and where you're coming from, and a little bit about what inspires you, and also about the delicious cooking you're all doing. I wish that we were together so that we could share food in this experience in the same room and share time, but it's so nice to have our relatives from India, from Minneapolis, from the East Coast joining us. And so I'm glad we're all here today. It's really my honor to introduce Julie Caldwell, the founder of Emerging Futures Network, and we'd love for you to introduce yourself, Julie.
Well, welcome everybody. And this project, while I'm the founder of Emerging Futures, this project originated with the Southern Oregon Food Solutions Group, many of whom are on the call tonight. And specifically Anna, from the very, very beginning, helped create this wonderful program. And Flavia has given a lot of great dedication, including creating the Southern Oregon Food Solution website. So you can all go there, and the beautiful brochure Meg will be sending you this week in the mail. For those of you who are local, will receive a copy of the brochure that the Southern Oregon Food Solutions Group made for this, and the rest of you can access it online at the Southern Oregon Food Solutions website. So thank you, Mariana, for putting together this wonderful 4-part series. I'm looking forward to going through it.
Great. Thank you, Julie. Thanks for all your hard work to bring this project into being and to bring it to life. And here we are launching it today. Congratulations. It's also my honor to introduce Paul Sheldon, who's the president of the board of Emerging Futures Network, and also has done a lot to help bring this workshop into being today. Please give a warm welcome to Paul Sheldon. Hello.
Welcome,
Thanks,
Paul.
Rihanna. With Chris Byrne in the background, it's an honor to be the token male on the call.
Hey.
I don't know why it is that men aren't interested in food, but we'll catch up soon enough. I was honored that Julie asked me last winter to consider helping to create a food waste calculator to be used in Southern Oregon, and that sort of gradually morphed over a series of conversations to her asking me to join the board and take on being the president. I live in Ashland, Oregon, and my older sister, Hunter.
Oh no, it looks like Paul froze for a minute. Hopefully he'll be back in just a minute. Oh no, Paul, come back. Okay, well, Paul, are you there now, or we can pass it back to you in just a few minutes? Okay, we're gonna keep going, but Paul Sheldon has done a lot to support Emerging Futures Network, and we're really glad you're here, Paul. We'll hear from him a little bit later in the program about the calculator he was mentioning. Chris, would you like to introduce yourself? We're just gonna round out. And hi, Rod Brooks. Hello, Mr. Newton. We're just finishing up introductions, and last member of the team from Emerging Futures, Chris Byrne. Hello, Chris.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I apologize for not showing up on screen. I had a tooth extraction today, so I'm kind of helping out on the back end. It was unexpected, and I'm happy to be not too uncomfortable. But so I look forward to meeting you all more next week. I have a professional background in preventing food waste, actually, in originally with how to deal with food waste. And what I love about being involved in this project is I've gone from the idea of food waste as a thing, a material that we have to get rid of, to the compost, to a process of not wasting food. And then you don't have to deal with getting rid of the material. So that's one of the things that I love about the switch in my thinking of being with this project. I share many of your loves of cooking in this season. Definitely breaking out actually bringing the crock pot indoor, because I use the crock pot year round, but I don't like adding heat to the house with it. So I usually cook with it out on the porch. And yeah, that's like all kinds of soups and stuff going on. And my other comfort food this time of year is ramen. I love to cook ramen for the kids.
Yum.
So look forward to seeing y'all in the coming weeks, and hopefully in better spirits of myself next week.
Great. Well, thanks for being here, Chris. Hello, Mr. Newton. Welcome. You're just now joining us. We're just wrapping up with introductions. We'd love it if you shared a little bit about your interest in food waste or where you're calling from today, and if there's anything seasonal you enjoy cooking in the fall. We're so glad you're here. Welcome.
Thank you. Roasted root vegetables.
Ooh.
And yeah, I mean, we've always been interested in it's always been appalling how much food just gets wasted. And we're really happy to support Pamela Joy, with her Food Angels, getting the food to go to useful places. And I think it's important. So glad to hear what you're doing.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you each and every one. So I know, thank you for kind of working through that little bit of a rocky start we had. I want to reintroduce myself. My name's Rihanna Sims. I live here in Southern Oregon outside Talent, and I helped to start the Master Recycler program here in Jackson County many years ago, and then actually ran that program for 6 years. And, so the food waste chapter and the composting chapter was always my favorite. And that was the part that I always really looked forward to in the program. And, probably like many of you, I'm the person who comes to meetings or comes to events, and I'm kind of making sure the host has a plan for food waste, or I have my bucket for my chickens in the back of my car just in case they don't have a plan. And I know that I'm among good company, that many of you probably have done things like that. And so I'm really excited to be here with a group of people who cares about food waste. This is an important topic to me, and an important topic in our community and for our planet. So thank you for your time tonight to focus on this topic. I just want to confirm with you that part of what the purpose of this program is to really create a learning community where we learn both together and we learn from each other. So I'm really hoping that this will be mostly discussion and conversation, where each of us have different skills and different strategies we've used in our own homes to reduce food waste. And we really want to draw upon that collective knowledge and share. So we'll have a lot of time for questions and discussion. And this is really as kind of the depth is what we bring to this. So I want to make sure that it's okay to share, excuse me, your email with the other participants in the program. If this is not okay with you, if you could just put your name, and please don't share my email in the chat, and that's no problem. But we really want to create this community of support, so that we're helping each other to learn these new behaviors and implement them in our homes. So we do want to kind of encourage checking in with each other or sharing resources with each other between classes. Also, just a few kind of Zoom-oriented reminders. Please put your questions into the chat, and we'll, Chris with Emerging Futures will be monitoring the chat. And so if you have questions along the way, feel free to put them there, and we'll be getting to those questions throughout the course of the program. I do see, Sonia, that you just joined us. I want to make sure you have a chance to introduce yourself if you would like to. Welcome. We're just sharing what community we're a part of, and anything you want to share about food waste in particular. But Sonia, we're glad you're here. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, I didn't have a link, so I had to email for the link. I never got that. So I just joined, and I'm with the Allison Street Climate Club. And we've been a little bit on hold with COVID craziness, but we're just a group of neighbors that have been getting together to educate ourselves and figure out how best to lower our carbon footprints. And so I met with Julie and Anne, I think it was, a while back about their work with the food solutions, and we agreed to host a zero waste kitchen if that ever happens in person.
Nice.
So I just am curious what you guys are, what you have to say to teach us about zero waste kitchen. And I'm going to sign off because I'm also eating dinner. I just finished work and I'm cooking as well. So, and my husband is listening.
Wonderful.
Before she signs off, I just want to say that this workshop came about because of Sonia. So she has this amazing club that is met every month at her house. I don't know if they still do. Ever since we went through the original drawdown class. So we were all in the same drawdown class, and myself, Anna, and Barton, we went to one area to start about food, and she did a thing in her neighborhood and knocked on her neighbors' doors and got everyone to come over. And I know Ann Barton goes to a meeting like that in her neighborhood. And the idea of this program was to get interest so that people would want to do this in their neighborhood with their friends and family. And we're hoping at the end of this, Sonia, we're going to actually have tools and resources so that you could do it over Zoom if you want, or you could also do it in your home. But we'll have more on that coming in the fourth session.
Okay,
Anyways,
well,
thank you, because you are my inspiration.
oh, well, thank you. You know, we haven't done anything really absolutely fantastic or anything, but it's good to have the ball rolling. So I am listening. I'm just turning my video off because I'm at the stove as well and all that.
No problem. Thanks so much for joining us. We're sure glad you're here, and thanks for helping to blaze the trail so that we can walk down it to be together to talk about food waste tonight. So thank you for that.
Sure.
So I do want to acknowledge many community partners who have helped to bring this program into being and have helped in many different ways. Some of you are a part of these groups, but just really you can see through this list the amazing amount of support this program has when each person, each group bringing something to support the program here. And we'll have some of these groups presenting throughout the program, and then at the end, here's a little overview of what we'll be working on together. So I'll be your host, and we'll meet on, this is the first class. We're talking about food waste. We're kind of setting the baseline and talking about prevention. Next week, Thursday, we'll be talking about food waste prevention and strategies that work. So how to create a zero waste kitchen and how to actually do that. What does that look like? In the second class, I really would love to have a lot of show and tell. So people bringing things that work for you or strategies that you've implemented that have been successful. We will take a break for Thanksgiving for the holiday. And with that break, there is the opportunity to really implement what we're learning and to put these things into practice. So the second class will talk a lot about how we can kind of prepare for the intention of a zero waste Thanksgiving, if that's something that fits within your family or whatever you celebrate the next week. The third class will really drill down to some alternative strategies of diverting food, of what do we do once we have wasted food, what are some of our options, and then looking at other parts of the kitchen as well. And then the fourth class, December 10th, that will talk about our community in action. So we'll hear from different organizations, nonprofits in our community who are doing something about food or food waste. And so we'll hear about those different opportunities, not only to get involved or to support them further. It looks like, oh, there we go. Okay. Great. So that's kind of our plan. So just a few more words is that each week we'll have a theme, and we'll have speakers from the community coming in to talk about that theme. And we'll also have some assignments for on your own that where we're hoping, again, we're really wanting this to be an applied learning experience.
Hi there.
So
I was in the kitchen and then I couldn't figure out what was going on because I've got this podcast, and so I thought, is that?
Okay, I'm gonna mute Pauline again. But so the idea is that we'll provide some resources and hopefully inspiration that then you can try out or put into practice in your own home, and then we'll come back together and kind of talk about it, see how it went, and move forward from there. So I do want to share, this is Emerging Futures Network, beautiful new website. And I want to share that there's a lot here for the community. We have a lot of information about our projects, a calendar of events, ways to get involved. But we also have a section on resources that we're building out that would include books or videos or articles that you think would be worth it to share or that you want others to know about. So throughout our time together, we're going to be collecting those resources and articles, and we'll be putting them up on the website to share with other people. So if you have anything to share there, please feel welcome. You can email me. I'll put my email in the chat, or We also have a Facebook and an Instagram account. So we do have a couple of different ways that you can get in touch with us. Okay, we're going to move from here. Again, the email is in the chat if you'd like to, again, share any of those articles or resources with the group throughout our sessions. So now coming up next, I'm really honored to introduce again Anna Castley, who is a member of the Southern Oregon Food Solutions Group, who have helped make this program possible and do a lot of great work in our community here in Southern Oregon. And I'm really honored that Anna, you agreed to present to help kind of start to lay the framework for what we're dealing with and why are we here and why should we really care about food waste. And Anna's gonna start us off. So let's give a warm Zoom welcome to Anna Castley.
I need to get you, it says host disabled screen sharing, so I can get my PowerPoint up.
Yep, there you go.
Okay, great. Okay.
You might have to double click. Might have to, oh, there we go. All right, great.
I got it. Yeah. Okay, so we're looking at the zero waste kitchen. And one way you might think about that is just making sure stuff doesn't go to the landfill. So I am going to be focusing on food waste, but further on in the class, you'll be looking at, it's not just the food waste, keeping that out of the landfill, but keeping everything out of the landfill as much as possible. It's been referenced a couple times, the drawdown. For those that aren't familiar with drawdown, Pachamama Alliance hosted a training that was based on this book, Drawdown, edited by Paul Hawkins. He pulled together a group of scientists to look at what are the 100 most effective solutions to draw down greenhouse gas emissions, not just to stop them from going up, but actually to draw them down. And in particular, he wanted things that were already available, not that we had to invent anything. And so a group of us locally took this training, and out of that came a subgroup looking at reducing food waste. And I think a lot of this was the reasons that we've already heard mentioned, but I will point out here, of all the 100 solutions, the third most effective as a single solution was reducing food waste. So that combined with, it was also mentioned about feeding people, a statistic like this, if we wasted just 15% less food, we could feed 15 million Americans. So for a lot of us in the group, it was kind of a no-brainer. It's like, if you can help the environment and feed people all at the same time, that's where we wanted to put some energy. It certainly seemed like it would be worth it. Now, the book and the research in Drawdown was done about 3 years ago. But just this year, they did come up with an updated version. And this was particularly interesting to me, what they added. You can see before, these are the different sectors on the left. And the one in green, the 24% was the grouping of food, agriculture, and land use. These were things that put CO2s into the atmosphere. But what they added was the right side, the sinks, the things that actually draw CO2s and other greenhouse gas emissions out of the atmosphere. And if you look at this, and I really want to encourage you, it's a really great website, Drawdown. You can go to their website and click on any one of these solutions and get a very concise, interesting summary. So these are the solutions that were in that one sector of agriculture, food, and food waste reduction, land use. And you see down in the left corner is the reduced food waste. And the ones with these two colors, the green and the brown, those are the combination of not putting CO2s into the atmosphere as well as drawing down. And two I want to point out in particular is this conservation agriculture and regenerative annual cropping. And these are, I think, especially relevant to us in the kitchen, because we really need to expand out our understanding of every decision we're making, every bit of food that we're buying, who grew that and how did they grow it? And to what extent are the practices they're using nourishing the soil or wasting the soil? Because this is the soil we depend on. And so looking at these two practices in particular, it can really give us some insight into making those decisions and the effect that that has on whether we're wasting our resources or whether we're building them. So this is just the big area of food waste and land use and agriculture that you might want to look at some point in a little more depth. I think Paul Hawkins summarizes this pretty well when he says, no industry has a bigger impact on climate change than agriculture and food, both as a source of the problem and as a solution. So why bother reducing food waste? Well, I pretty much heard from you all. There's a pretty high level of awareness in this group, but I know some of this information just really is what got me motivated. And so I'm going to pass it along. And it's just a good reminder and kind of, I think, a motivator. In the US, 40% of food is wasted. 40%. That's $1,500 for a family of four. So you have, of course, we've talked about, many people mentioned the moral issue, the ethical issue of this precious resource being wasted. There's also the very real financial reality of $1,500 for a family of four being wasted. Worldwide, 1/3 of the food is wasted every year. That's 1.3 billion tons of food. Just an incredible amount. It is in the low-income countries, the waste generally occurs early in the supply chain. A lot of this has to do with lack of infrastructure, maybe not having the water systems to get the water where it's needed, not having the roads to get the food to market, not having refrigeration trucks to keep things cold or refrigerators. So a lot of the waste is early in the supply chain in low-income countries. In high-income countries, more of the waste occurs later in the supply chain through ordering too much, through food being rejected because of aesthetic reasons, having food left in the back of the refrigerator. And I think this is really important because these are the areas where we really can have some impact. This later parts of the food chain. And it's interesting too to look at the earlier parts of the food chain, what we can do there. But a lot of the Zero Waste Kitchen is going to be looking at this latter part of the food chain. So what happens? This food, if it's not used, it ends up in the landfill. And not only does the decay of the food create the carbon dioxide, you hear a lot about CO2s, even more damaging is methane, CH4, which gets released from the landfills. So this is from the EPA, a breakdown of the municipal solid waste that ends up in landfills. And you can see the food at 15% is second only to paper in the quantity of what's going into the landfills. So what is food loss or food waste? It's food that was originally meant for human consumption, but for various reasons, it's removed from the human food chain. So even if it's then directed to a non-food use, such as feed or bioenergy, it's still, it's food waste if it wasn't used for human consumption. That's the definition from the UN Environment Program. So what gets wasted? 50% of seafood they find gets wasted, 48% fruits and vegetables, 38% of grains, 22% of meat, and milk 20%. Those are just staggering figures of what's getting thrown out. This to me was one of the biggest ahas as I studied this. Certainly wasting all that food is bad enough, but the realization of what went into producing that food, just thinking about all the water that was put on those crops, all the land that was used to grow it, and including all of the areas that were clear cut because of the sense of needing more land to grow more food. So all those forests that were destroyed, all of the energy to fuel the trucks, to refrigerate, just all the ways that energy was used that then is lost. And then of course, the labor, the people who spent days and weeks and months and years, they're out there planting the seeds and weeding and harvesting. And then the capital that it takes to pay those people. And then the capital that it takes to buy the seeds and the implements. All of that together is getting wasted every time that food is thrown out. So it's not just the food itself, it's everything that it took to bring that food into being. So just a few more examples. Irrigation water used globally to grow food that's wasted would be enough for the domestic needs of 9 billion people, the number expected on the planet by 2050. If we planted trees on land currently used to grow unnecessary surplus and wasted food, this would offset a theoretical maximum of 100% of the greenhouse gas emissions from fossil fuel combustion. And this is my, I don't know if it's favorite or most painful, is the realization all of the world's nearly 1 billion hungry people could be lifted out of malnourishment on less than a quarter of the food that's wasted in the US, UK, and Europe. So where does the food get wasted? This was another aha for me, I know. I just assumed, well, probably most of it's coming from restaurants, supermarkets, those big institutions. But actually, that is not the case. Not by much, but it's our homes that are producing the majority of it at 43% rather than 40%. So this is when things went click that we could make a difference in this, because it is in our homes that so much of this waste is taking place. It's not the manufacturers of farms. This is something that we really can do something about. So what are we doing about it? This is the food recovery hierarchy put together by the Environmental Protection Agency. From most preferred to least preferred. And up here at the very top source, where this is what happens in your kitchen, this is preventing the food from becoming waste to begin with.
Oh no, we lost her. Oh wait. Anna, you still there? We were on the edge of our seats. You had us in the palm of your hand. We were with you all the way. Where are you? Well, that was really, we'll wait for Anna to pop back on, but that was a really powerful presentation and certainly a lot to think about. I just wondered if anyone had any reactions or thoughts. Oh, there you are. Hello, Anna. Nope. I just wanted, hi.
So I don't know where I went at. I don't know where I got. I'm getting a message that my connection's unstable, so I might be going out again. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. You shared about
Okay.
the hierarchy of recovery, food recovery.
Okay, yeah. So I'm getting to the end here. So really the focus is on not generating the food waste. But of course, we are going to have some. So then the next level is bank, soup kitchen, shelters. Then you're always going to have banana peels. Somebody's not going to want to eat. There's always going to be some kind of scraps getting that to animals. Then the next level would be industrial uses for rendering, waste oils for rendering and fuel conversion, food scraps, right? Digestion to recover energy, composting, and then landfill or incineration. Please, but I'll also say that I know for me, initially it's like, well, to not waste food.
Darn. Well, we're gonna come back to these topics and we're gonna come back to these themes. Welcome, Jesse, who just joined us. Nice to see you today, and you're amongst friends. Nice to see you. Welcome. We're overcoming technical difficulties together. We're already bonding as a group, and I'm so glad you're here to bond with us because we're getting closer as we overcome some challenges. But I think that we all have heard quite a bit of Anna's presentation, and I just wondered if I know that there was a lot there that was very startling and both motivating and pretty appalling. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share, reflections or thoughts and follow up as we kind of come back together as a group? And since there is a little bit of a lag, yeah, great. And if you could just kind of indicate and then I'll kind of help things move along. Yeah, go ahead, Kathy. Just make sure to unmute yourself. We'd love to hear some thoughts from you.
Oh, Anna, thank you. That was wonderful. And I want to hear more about the food recovery hierarchy. I think I've heard of it before, but I'm sure we'll learn more. But the worldwide waste was a shock to me. I'd heard the numbers about the US, but I had no idea about the worldwide. So that was mind-blowing. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really great. Anybody else like to share? Hi, Pauline, please. Just remember to unmute yourself and we'd love to hear your thoughts.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, the worldwide thing is startling and shocking. I think most of us were kind of aware of that. But to me, it comes down to what I can do right here in my own household, in my own land. And my son and I pretty much got it dialed in after 5.5 years on this land. And we have several acres, but the bottom 3 maybe, we have deer fencing. So that's where we grow crops. But everything we try to keep on the land, not bring in extra things and not let things go off. Once, maybe a year, if my son's doing some construction, it might be a little lot more often than that, but usually once a year we have to go to the landfill with his pickup truck full, and that's all. And I see all these garbage cans out along my road week after week after week. We compost everything, nutshells, our acorn shells, we have the acorns on the land, get ground up and go into the compost. I'm shelling walnuts we got from a friend. The walnut shells get ground up and go into the compost. Of course, all of any trimmings from food go into the compost. Over the 5 years, I guess we've been gardening, our compost piles have grown and grown, and we have several. The newest one going back to the more aged ones, which go back into the garden beds. Anyway, it's all coming down for me, and has for a long time, to what I can do right here in my little spot on this earth.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Pauline. Thank you so much. And we're going to talk a lot about that over our next couple of sessions. Anna, are you back with us? Can you hear us again? It looks like you might be a little frozen. We just want to give a warm Zoom thank you and round of applause to Anna for her great presentation. Thank you so much. We're going to want to hear more from you, and I know you're having a couple technical issues there. Jesse, hi, welcome.
Thank you, Brianna. It's so good to see you. Oh my gosh. I want to say that I was late getting here, and I'm wondering if this Anna's presentation was recorded, and if you would share a link with me so I can see it.
Sure, we'd be happy to share. We are recording these sessions, and we'll be happy to share those with the group. Anna, are you there? Would you like to, can you share at this point, Anna, anything?
I was really pretty much ready to wrap it up there. So yeah, just if there are any questions or anything, I'm happy, but that was kind of it. There was one more slide that says it was a bunch of compost saying we are not trash.
Nice. Anybody else have a reflection or like to share before we move on a little bit? Yeah, Julie.
Yeah, I just want to say that I also was really impressed with both the statistics and the hierarchy when I first saw them. And so this program is designed to address those the gaps in the hierarchy for us individually in our kitchen, but also out in the community. And I'm really excited. I'm hearing about compost, Pauline, but I'm really excited because I do know that Talent and Ashland and Recology are in discussions about how to bring us curbside pickup. So I'm excited. I don't know how quickly it's going to come, but we, hopefully we'll all get together to make that happen for those of us who don't live on a farm. Anyhow, and I want to learn about the worms yet, Brianna.
Great. Thank you. Great. Yes, go ahead, Sonia.
Say one thing. Yeah, so I was a wildlife biologist earlier in my life. And so you all probably remember the news about how much we've lost in wildlife populations around the world recently. A huge drop in overall population numbers. And that is tied to land. It's tied to habitat. Habitat loss is one of the main drivers for that. And so just to see that statistic of how much land has been cleared for food that was wasted is really startling to see that connection. It's all connected.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. That does make it very real. Anyone else want to share before we kind of move to the next phase?
Yes, I would like to share something if we have time. Just,
yes, ma'am.
Yes. When I saw the statistics that how much food is getting wasted, especially the fish, as you mentioned, 50% of it is going waste. It just reminded me one concept from Buddhism about mindfulness. If we can, like the Buddha is teaching his disciples how we can use things like he's telling one cloth can, if it breaks down, then you can use as a rag. Then the rag you can use, even the small shreds can be used. That's what he's teaching. So if the farmers also, if they can, save, like suppose a farmer makes something and whatever sells off, and the rest of it he has to throw. But if we can make, like for example, tomatoes, we can make sauce out of it. So if we have this ecosystem in our house, in the farm, then so much can be saved. And when we have bad rains and all, that can be used. This is my reflection when I saw it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing. I really appreciate that. You're so right that that has value all along the way, and that really when we are utilizing it, then there's much less waste. Well, thank you, Anna, for your presentation. And I just want to share a little bit more about, like we were talking about, some other ways to frame food waste. We've heard a little bit about this already, but that 80 billion pounds of food is thrown away each year, the equivalent of 1,000 Empire State Buildings. And I really appreciated Anna's presentation, the connection between wasted food and hunger. And I think that's an important one for us to be thinking about, especially coming up with the holiday in a couple weeks. And we'll be revisiting some community organizations who are taking action with that in mind. We heard about the 40% wasted per year, but what I wanted to add to the conversation was 219 pounds per person. So really thinking about, what that looks like to try to hold, a 50-pound sack, 100-pound person, 216 pounds of food wasted. This is another way to look at some of the information that Anna shared about some of those impacts, the environmental impacts. And part of what was dynamic to me about this was similar to what Anna shared about the farming practices, but specifically the energy and water that goes into fertilizer. So to even create the fertilizer to put on the field to grow the food, it just, is really compounding. And then here we see 2.6% of all the greenhouse gases are emitted by wasted food. And that food waste is the #1 contributor to the landfill by weight, which is appalling to me. I'm sorry, this is a little blurry. What I wanted to share in this is just that we can see that this is really a cultural issue that is occurring over time and is actually increasing over time dramatically. So this is even a dated slide, but we can see the projection there and kind of that it's increasing. Here's another way to look at the food recovery hierarchy, which kind of paused a little bit. Again, as Anna, just supplementing Anna's talk here that she shared, with the most preferred being at the top and the least preferred being at the bottom. And so again, really, what do we do with this food waste? Where can it go? Here are some areas where feeding hungry people, animals, industrial uses, composting, and then as a very last resort. And I know we all on the call today really share that ethic. And so we're going to be talking about some of these strategies over the course of the Zero Waste Kitchen series. We've shared a little bit, but what I want to just make sure, I know we're at about 6:15. I want to make sure that each of you are taking care of yourselves and your bodies. And so I want to just take a little moment to stand up, just take a couple of seconds to take care of yourself. Stand up, do a stretch, that they say when it's terrible to sit all day. So if you want to move your body in any way. And give a little stretch or a shoulder roll. Come back in. We might, little shoulder roll, keep the blood going. Nice. Welcome. Okay, so what's next is that I'd like to share a short video that goes a little bit more into depth with some of the themes. Again, we're just really setting the stage today about the issues, and looking at it from a couple of different vantage points. So I want to just share this short little video. This is put on by Skillshare.
Ryan, I think the sound is turned off. I'm not hearing it.
I'm not hearing video either.
None?
Audio, I mean, audio.
No audio.
All right.
It worked earlier when we tested it, so we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right, let's try one more time. Let's see how it is.
Not only to our survival, but also
It was there and then it's gone again.
Hi, everybody. I just got a call from Rihanna, and it seems like today is the day of technology challenges. So she's restarting her computer. It crashed. So that's what's going on. And so what I thought that I would talk about, we've all, in Emerging Futures, we've kind of done a little bit of a food waste audit of our own. We've gone through a similar program that we have used to use as a sort of a springboard for us hosting this for the community. And one of the things that I noticed about food waste in my kitchen is, I mentioned earlier that I like to make ramen for my kids. And one of the things that the ramen bowl is not complete without some sliced green onions. And if I don't have those in the ramen, my son he gets over it because he loves it. But you see where I'm getting at here. So I always have some green onions in my fridge, and sometimes those go to waste, and I've had to find creative ways to reuse them. That's just a little example of something that I found through this process, and I'm wondering if anybody wants to share about something that they realize. I think another one is, I'm not a baker, so bananas tend to go. I'd love to make more banana bread, but I watch those go. But if anybody wants to share about something that that they'd love, ideas on on how to not have a certain food or a type of food go to waste in your kitchen, I'd love to hear it. And
Bananas are an easy one for me because I love smoothies. So I just pop them in the freezer and have them for smoothies.
yep, that's a good one too. I know that they do that at their mom's house for sure. I'm not huge on smoothies myself, so I think what I've gotten to do is I just buy fewer of them.
We actually buy more and we let them get rotten and put them in the freezer to make banana ice cream. So, and it's fabulous. And you can add little chocolate chips and even hot little peppers in it. If you like a little spice, put some red peppers in your banana, but you put a little bit of almond milk and a little bit of vanilla and a lot of bananas, and you put it in your blender and it's ice cream. It's great.
That sounds really good. Anyone else? Thanks, Julie. And thanks, Anna.
This is Kathy. I like to freeze them and use them then thaw them and use them in banana bread. For sure.
That's a good classic one. I wish I were more of a baker. I guess banana bread's not really that difficult, but I'm sure good banana bread is. Rihanna's back.
Cynthia had one. I want to hear Cynthia's go first.
Well, I was actually going to make a request that maybe we exchange recipes for some of these wonderful things. One thing I found, but I will go ahead and just say one quick before we go back to Rihanna, and that's I did find there were certain vegetables that I got with my CSA box that I'm not really wild about, such as green peppers. And there was one week where we got a lot of green peppers and I just chopped them up and froze them because I do like to cook with them. I just don't like to eat them raw. So I froze them and then I can just take out what I want. And so I did a lot of freezing being on, I don't know how to can. I would love to learn. That'd be another great class. Let's learn how to can.
Just to mention, we asked for resources earlier in the call and shared an email address for sharing those. The other thing that we do want to do is collect recipes. So that's a great idea. Go ahead and send those also to media@emergingfuturesnetwork.net. And I'll chime in with one more before I turn it back over to Rihanna, is that I just recently realized that if I make a bunch of tomato sauce, that I can't use all of it. I got 2 ice cube trays just for tomato sauce. You freeze the tomato sauce, and then when it's frozen, you can crack it and put it in a plastic bag, and then take 3 of them out when you need a quick dinner or a quick lunch or something like that.
Nice. I love that.
And a little birdie told me that, and I don't want to put any more work on our staff's plate, but I heard from one of the staff, they were thinking about if we got enough recipes, we'd have a class cookbook at the end. So
I think that would be amazing.
Hello. Yeah, in India, you have a lot of recipes for pickles and chutneys. So whenever you have tomatoes and even vegetables and even fish and non-veg, you can make pickles and it stays for years. So maybe this can be shared on the, maybe we have a blog or something where we can share these links and recipes. Thank you.
That sounds amazing. We would love to learn from you about that. That sounds great. Thanks, Chris, for pitching in there. Just having a little technical meltdown over here. I don't know if Mercury's in retrograde or what's going on. Excuse me. I really apologize. My computer just said I'm not going to do it. And so let's try again, because this is a really great short video that I would love to share with you that just really captures all of the information that we've been sharing, and especially connects food waste with climate change, but then also what we can do about it. So thanks for bearing with me. This is going to be the one that goes really smooth. Watch this.
Sponsored by Skillshare. Curries, burgers, sushi, pizzas, tortillas. As a species, food is central not only to our survival, but also to our cultures. We love food. But as much as we love food, we also love to throw it away. The UN Food
These declassified documents were
Okay. Well, that's not working. I don't know why. I sincerely apologize. I tried it twice with Chris and it was completely fine. So what I'll do is I'll send you the link to that in your email so that you can watch it, and it might just be too much bandwidth for my rural internet. I'm so sorry. I really wanted us to watch it together, but I'll make sure that you get that in an email so that you can watch it on your own, and to make sure that, but what I do want to share is how are we going to take our information from, we've laid the baseline with Anna. We've learned about why this is a problem. I know that you've been sharing a little bit about some recipes and things we can do. But what I want to introduce you to next is this really great tool called the Food Waste Challenge. So the Food Waste Challenge was, we've adapted this tool from Bend Environmental. And what it is it's a series of emails that walks you through these steps, both to identify what kind of food waste you actually are, having trouble with, or identify areas where there is food waste. And then also helping you to track how much of it your family or your household or you yourself are producing. And then as we begin to implement strategies to address the food waste, then we continue to track, and hopefully we see those amounts go down as we start learning different strategies from each other. So the Food Waste Challenge was replicated by Bend Environmental, and so it will be a series of emails, and in the mail, you'll be receiving a couple of resources from us. One is a tracking card so that you can track your food waste through the experience of the challenge. So, and through this class. So what worked for me, just to share, there's a couple of ways to do this. So one way is that you can use the same container. So you just decide, here's my container, and I'm going to track how many times I fill that container over the course of the week. And then, make observations about what's in there. The other way, if you have a small scale at your home, like for postage or even a bathroom scale, you can put your container on there, zero it out, and then you can actually weigh the contents of what actually is would be going into the trash. Or even for our household, even though we have a robust composting system and chickens who eat the majority of our food waste, this was still really informative for our family, because we could actually see and really pay more attention to the food waste as it was being generated. And then even though we were able to divert it, it helped us to then see, okay, here are the areas where we can make changes, where we can prevent the food waste in the future. So you'll be getting you'll be getting your first email on Friday. And so, in the mail, you'll be getting your kind of tracking form, and the brochure that Julie mentioned, and some other resources. One of the most significant strategies that the Food Waste Challenge supports is an Eat First card. So one of the things that they immediately suggest is to make an area in your fridge for things that are about to go bad, or that are on the edge of becoming food waste. So this is also really helpful in helping to train your family, your spouse, your children, whoever, your housemates, whoever you might live with. So this is a place where right when you open the fridge, that first shelf or the middle shelf, wherever you kind of look to first. And so again, we'll be mailing you a card that actually just says, eat this first. When I was going through the food waste challenge, I thought, gosh, that seems so simple. Like, what would that actually do? But it has made a huge difference for our family. And not only now does that half a zucchini or part of a sandwich or opened can of, olives or whatever you might have goes in that location. So it doesn't get shuffled to the back. It doesn't get kind of pushed aside. And again, so for us in our family, part of what we go to is, okay, for us, it's a shelf because I have 2 young children. So we're, moving through a lot of food. But one of the suggestions is you can actually make a basket or a container or a box. Anything that just delineates, hey, look here first, start dinner with this first. And from what the Bend Environmental Center shared was that this was one of the most significant ways that people found that they could actually reduce waste, just by helping to identify what they should eat first and where they should go first in their fridge. So part of what in the food waste challenge you'll be thinking about this week is how your fridge is organized to maximize not only reducing food waste, but to eat the food that you have there. And I just love to open up the floor a little bit if anyone has tips or suggestions or has already done this and is a pro. But this is an area that, honestly, I hadn't given a lot of thought to. And when these suggestions came up with the food waste challenge, we really did reorganize our fridge, and it made a big difference in our family. Has anybody else had experience with that or want to share about strategies you use in your fridge? Yeah, Kathy, go ahead.
We've, for a few years, kept a small index card to remind us of what's in the freezer. And it keeps us on top of things, and it does take some maintenance. And then a few months ago, I started one for the fridge because we were letting things hide in the back, and we keep a fairly tight ship here, but I have a large sticky note that has on one side just the fresh things so that we don't have to open the fridge every time to remind ourselves of what's in there. So that's on one side. And then on the second column is like the leftovers and the cooked things and what you brought home. So it's sort of the eat first thing, but it's on the outside of the fridge. So we're not opening the door all the time.
Smart. Good one.
I'd like to just ask, Chris, can you let someone in? They're waiting in the waiting room. I've gotten a mail, and if you could let them in, that would be appreciated. Our friend from India dropped and is back on.
Yes, I believe Ryan is still the host though. So, but yes, we will.
I think you are, Chris, sorry. Once it popped me off, I'm no longer the host. But anyone else have tips about how you organize your fridge? I know that for me, I don't tell my husband, but I stash all the good stuff in the vegetable drawer because he never looks there. And so if you want to find cookies in my house, look in the vegetable drawer. He'll never look there. But it also means that they're not visible when you first open the fridge. And so often when, the kids will open the fridge, they'll want to, eat what's right in front of them. And so if what's right in front of them is the container of cut vegetables or cut carrots, they'll reach for those things first. And then it actually takes effort and time to go ahead and get, the cookies in the produce drawer. Don't tell anyone about that, but if you come to my house, you'll know the truth. Anyone else have anything to share about fridge organization? This is a little nuanced, but it actually is a big deal. Yeah, Anna, go ahead.
Well, actually, I noticed Jamie just did another post since she can't speak, so I'll read it for her, okay?
Oh, great, thank you.
She says, yes, we've been organizing our fridge for about a year now. There is a shelf for each meal. lunch ingredients, dinner ingredients, snacks. And every day or so, we move the older food to the front. I found getting in the habit of moving the food around to different places reminds us that we have it. That's from Jamie.
Very cool. I like that. Interesting. Yeah, Julie.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I'm always moving food around. And I'm constantly putting the things that need to be eaten in front. And I have bought, and I've given these out for Christmas gifts to everyone in my family. For those of you who shop at Costco, you can get like a set of 20 for $15 or something, or I don't know, or maybe it's 15 for $20 or anyways, but for under $30, you can get a set, small, medium, and large, and you can see through and you can see what's in there. And again, these get moved around and stacked and put front and forward, but it's really, really helpful to see it.
Julie, I know you went through the food waste challenge. Have you tried the Eat First card? Did you do that in your fridge, or did you do something else?
No, I'm a very, for me, menu planning is probably the biggest. In fact, I have had a really difficult time with COVID. My food waste has gone up so much, and I'm embarrassed because I got really, really good at it. Like I'd have just a little bit each week. And it's like, it's gone up so much because I'm trying only to shop once a week, or, not go to the market all that often, especially with the spikes. So you're just getting really, really mindful about that list. And, so I try to make my big sweep and then get the things that are more like the vegetables and the things that go faster, fruit. I try to buy them and go twice a week for that now, instead of, every other day, which is when I really was on top of my food waste. It was, you go every 2 or 3 days instead of once a week.
Thanks for sharing about that. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, Cynthia, please.
I have another request.
Sure.
Since this is really good for me. My refrigerator door is a source of waste a lot of times. So any tips on the door itself would be welcome. I've been doing the Eat First. I don't actually have a box. I like the idea of that, but I've tried to do the Eat First system, and that has worked pretty well. But I find things still get away from me, and the door especially is, things stay in there for a really long time. And so any tips on that would be helpful.
Good one. In the food waste challenge, the email that you'll get, there is a link to, if you want some more tools for fridge organization. And, again, Michelle Price, who used to teach at OSU Extension with the Master Food Preservers, introduced me to that concept similar to what you have, Kathy. She actually has a little whiteboard, a little dry erase board on both her fridge and her chest freezer. And at the time when she told me about this, I was like, I cannot believe who is this organized? I mean, who has time to be this organized? But I didn't understand the implications of what it means to actually, as you shared, Kathy, to really know what you have, so that, like Julie's saying, when you go to the store, you're making smart decisions, because that waste prevention really starts with the shopping cart. And so if we can actually see what we have and we know what we have, then that meal planning and the our list at the store then becomes much more focused. And that has really helped me a lot, significantly. I think, Julie, any tips though for Cynthia? She's about that. Yeah, what is in the refrigerator door exactly? Julie, did you want to share?
Yeah, I put it in the chat, and I was just now trying to look for my zero waste book by B that gave the talk last year. She has a marvelous 2 pages, and maybe we can even, I don't know, I bet you if we wrote her, she'd let us share it, but of how to shop a store for zero waste, not just food waste, but plastic wastes, and how she uses bags, and how she plans, actually thinks about how she shops, and going to bakeries so she doesn't have the plastic. And it's just very interesting way to get your mind around doing it differently. I mean, if you lived in Italy, you would be doing that naturally. Here in the United States, we go to these big stores that have everything. But if we go to smaller stores, you know, it changes, the footprint changes. So that's interesting. But I make, and I just did this, I made chicken the other night, and I took all the different old sauces, Cynthia, and it was delicious. So we got rid of about 3 old jars by making marinades, or you can toss them in soups even to spice it up, you know. So instead of your old curry, you put your old mustard.
Yeah, I do that with salsa a lot of times. Seems like I always have a lot of salsa, but I never thought about the condiments, doing that with condiments. So that's pretty cool. And I like a whiteboard idea because you could make a little section of it for your shopping list as well. So that's pretty cool. I like that idea.
Nice. I like that too. Anyone? Yeah, Anna, please.
Yeah, well, that too, we also use a whiteboard, and I just to second the whiteboard, and we do it for our chest freezer, and we have cardboard boxes that are just the right dimension to stack one on top of each other. And so on the whiteboard, there's level 1, level 2, level 3, and then 1, 2, 3 across. So in each section, we know what's in there, because talk about saving time. I can't believe it took us as long to start doing this, but it has just made it so easy. It's like, I need green beans, frozen green beans. I know I go to this section, the second, or, you know, whatever. It just makes it so easy to know what we have. And as a gardener, most of it's our garden produce, is to track as we're going through the year, how much have we stored of vegetables? How much of it's fruit? Are we going to end up with like 90% fruit in there and 10% vegetables? No. So it really helps us to see at what point do we want to say, okay, we're not going to keep any more fruit. We're going to give it away. We need to keep the space for the vegetables. But the eraser board with the grid and the different areas and having the boxes that fit, it took us time to get just the right boxes, but to have 1, 2, 3 across and 3 down, it just makes it so easy to do stuff in and out.
Wow, I love that. That's really helpful.
Ann Barton just called to say hi to everybody. She just texted me. She says, say hi to everyone. Sorry, can't be there. I'm sure it's all amazing. Thank you for keeping me in the loop. So Ann's acknowledging we're all here tonight. I have one more tip that, since you were talking about how to do things, and this is actually saves me $300 to $500 a year. So it's a really cool tip. And I love organic vegetables. So it's all organic and it's better than what I can buy at the store. But I make a lot of vegetables, and I fill up 2 mesh bags in my freezer with all the end parts, all the scraps. And I even throw apple cores in there because it makes it sweeter. And I boil it up every couple weeks, and I make 2 bags makes me about 5 2-quart jars of vegetable broth. And so I'm saving, you know, and I do that twice a month. So those 10 jars would have cost me, you know, a lot of money. And when I added it up, it's like $500 a year. Plus I don't waste any of the packaging. So I kept the packaging out of the landfill as well. And so, and it's healthier. It's, if you look at what they sell at the store, it's just usually 2 vegetables, and mine's got, you know, everything I love most in there. So it's great. A lot of root vegetables, Rod.
Hey, I love that. Well, I really love the honest and vulnerable sharing, and thank you so much that we can, you know, really share about our challenges and our ideas, and, you know, what's embarrassing that's in our fridge. I feel like, you know, you're like looking under my couch cushions, but that when we can share together and find, you know, these strategies to address it and actually make it a resource instead of a source of waste, is really powerful. And so thank you for sharing. So you will get some more resources in your food waste challenge. One is a link to a whole article about some ideas to organize your fridge. We've had some really great ones shared today. And then how as Julie mentioned, how to shop smart with a plan or with a list that you've, looked at actually what you have first, or eat what you have first, and then make that shopping list. So check your email for your food waste challenge tomorrow. So a few other things that as we're kind of wrapping up, again, we're going to be starting the food waste challenge. And again, so we're asking you to either pick a container that you can use consistently to track your volume, or if you have a scale. But this, even though there's so much knowledge on the call today and so much experience in the room, I find that everyone has room to grow in this area, or room to kind of expand our awareness or integrate other strategies. So I really encourage you to start to kind of think tonight, what container can I use, or how can I do this little bit of tracking so that we can report in together. And so
Brianna, can I add one thing there?
Uh-huh.
I did it on the bathroom scale. So I took I weighed myself first, and then I weighed myself with the container. And if you do the weight, we'll be able to get back to you how much greenhouse gases we all saved at the end of this, because that's one of the things we're going to report on our grant is how much greenhouse gases, and there's a formula for pounds of food, and we can add up our class amount and figure out how much this class just saved just by doing the class together. So that's kind of cool.
Nice. I like that. Thank you. Yeah. So that's a really great and easy way to track the weight. That's really excellent. And so what we're trying to do is to really set your baseline of what is being wasted, or how can we address it together. Again, I taught the Master Recycler program for 6 years, and I teach about food waste. And so I was a little skeptical, will I learn something from this? But it was such a powerful reflection to see what was there. And again, since I'm a mom of young children, I was also able to see, where I can create some family systems where my children can participate more, and how we can work together to reduce waste and participate together. And so even though there's a lot of knowledge in the room already, I really encourage you to, look closely at what's there, and then we'll strategize together. So we do have some fun prizes available. We're really hoping to hear from you about your process and your experience with this. We'd love for you to send a photo or of your Eat First card in your refrigerator once you get it, or even a picture of your container with the food waste in it, or anything that your beautiful organization fridge, I don't know, your grid of your whiteboard, whatever you feel like sharing. We find that in sharing this education with the community, it really helps to have those tangible examples of those tangible applications. So here's what this looks like. This isn't a pie, this isn't something over there. Here's what this looks like in real time, in real life. And so there's a couple options. If you are on Instagram or Facebook, please you can use a hashtag. So that means the little number sign, and that stands for Southern Oregon Zero Waste Challenge. You can also email those photos to the media@emergingfuturesnetwork.net. So a couple of different ways, and we will ask your permission to use those images and in further educational opportunities. And also, if you haven't already, to try and implement some kind of eat this first area of your fridge, or some kind of thoughtful organization of your fridge that makes sense to your home and your family. But to, give some intention to that organization there. Any questions about that kind of our homework, or how we're going to try to apply what we've learned here, or any thoughts or concerns that we want to address about that as we're kind of wrapping up here? Everybody, so check your mailbox for your Eat First card. Check your email box for your zero waste challenge, your food waste challenge. And then I want to make sure that I'm on your calendar for next week, Thursday the 19th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We'll be here in the Zoom room together. And since we weren't able to watch that video together, I will send you the link so you can watch that on YouTube if you'd like, so that hopefully your computer can run it. Yeah, Cynthia, go ahead.
Will we be using the same Zoom link next week?
Yes, ma'am. And we will clear up the problem with the passcode. So it'll be the same Zoom link. We'll send out the reminders and make sure that you have those well in advance.
Okay. Don't think I got a reminder this time, so.
Okay, yeah, I think it was sent maybe an hour before the event or something. But we'll make sure you didn't get that. Okay, so we'll make sure that you get that and that you have the link. And next week, we're excited that we're going to be moving into strategies. And so again, if you are able to bring some show and tell about, what strategies you're already implementing to reduce not only food waste, but waste of any kind in your kitchen. Again, it's really helpful for us to learn from each other and together. So if you can bring those, and we will be having Flavia here will be one of our presenters next week to share about some of the strategies that she uses in her home. And so it's really great to have Southern Oregon Food Solutions supporting us in the Zero Waste Kitchen Workshop. So let's give a warm thank you to Anna Castley again. Thank you, Anna, for your presentation. That was really great. Thank you. And Flavia, we look forward to seeing you next week. Any announcements or anything for the good of the whole before we kind of sign off for tonight? Anything else anybody would like to share?
Yeah, I got a question.
Sure.
If somebody who might be interested but wasn't here tonight, will they be able to join in the subsequent weeks?
Sure. Yeah, we especially with the Food Waste Challenge supplement, we're happy to welcome folks who might want to jump in with us.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Feel free to share that with others. If I put the Emerging Futures Network Facebook link, if you're on Facebook, please friend us and we'll make sure to tag you in with your photos. But yeah, please invite your friends, and if you need to invite your spouse, we'll play neutral. But we could help with spousal or family training. So if they're on in the background, we can help you. Jamie,
okay,
go ahead, Flavia. Yeah.
One more question. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. So this session is being recorded, and I wanted to see if we could capture Anna's great presentation. So is that recording going to be someplace on your website?
We will make the recording available, but I might honestly work with Anna separately when we have a little bit stronger internet connection and make sure that we have that recording with a little bit better internet, because that last two slides were really crucial.
Redo the last 5 minutes or something. Or the last
exactly. So we'll work on that a little bit. Jamie, I want to make sure if you have anything to share, if you want to type into chat, we'll give you a moment. Nice. Thank you for the suggestion about the WhatsApp for smooth communication. That was really great. Okay. Well, thank you all for your patience and tolerance today. I apologize for some of the technical issues. Jamie, thanks for chiming in. Good, we'll be able to see and hear you next week. That sounds really great. Okay, and with that, thank you all for being here. And it's something really special to be here amongst people who really want to be the change we wish to see. And it's really motivating that each of you took time out of your own lives to learn more about food waste and to share together. And it just really fills my heart that there are people like each of you out there who want to make a difference in this way, and feels really good to be together. So thank you for making this time. And I look forward to sharing more. Please feel free to bring friends and family members to the room next Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'll have a great time together. So thank you all for being here, and eat this first. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rihanna.
Thank you very much, Rihanna.